So Nirav Modi has been arrested in London now, finally, on the basis of the extradition request made by India to the United Kingdom. So what does this mean? Does it mean that now that he's arrested, he's going to go to jail in the UK? Does that mean he's going to be transferred back to India? Well, that's what we're here to sort of explain to you. Because now that he's been arrested, this doesn't mean any of those things. Actually, he's just going to be produced before the Westminster Magistrate's Court, and then he'll be released on bail pretty much immediately. This is just a stage of preliminary hearing where they'll set what the actual dates of hearing are for the main trial for the extradition case. Now, that's going to happen over the next few months. Will probably take up to a year if we look at the experience of what we saw with Vijay Mallya's case as well. Now, what's going to happen at this? The Crown Prosecution Service of the UK is going to argue that there is prima facie evidence to show that Nirav Modi has committed an extradition offence, which in this case is going to be fraud. He's supposed to have obviously defrauded Punjab National Bank and the Indian Exchequer of around 13,000 to 14,000 crore rupees. So that's what's going to be argued by the Crown Prosecution Service. For that, they're going to use evidence provided by the CBI, by the ED, by the Ministry of Home Affairs, the External Affairs, so all of these kind of things. In the meanwhile, Nirav Modi will be arguing that, look, actually his arrest and this potential case against him is all a political witch hunt, that there is no actual case of fraud which is made out against him personally, and that he should not be extradited to India because this would lead to a violation of his human rights. Now, all of this will happen in the court. The court will then have to take a call. Previously, they used to actually hold that Indian jail conditions were inhumane and so extradition shouldn't be allowed. But in the recent past, that's finally changed, with first the appeal against Sanjeev Chawla's, the bookie's extradition, and then of course Vijay Mallya's. Now, what this means is that we're probably likely to see the Westminster Magistrate's Court order his extradition, but they don't get to make the actual order itself. They forward it to the Secretary of State for Home Affairs. So the Home Secretary of the UK then looks at the case, says, are there any statutory bars to extradition here, which in this case would be that he could either face the death penalty or that India would prosecute him for other crimes apart from just this sort of extradition offence, and then they'll take a call. So it's a limited scope of review, again likely to see the Home Secretary order his extradition. But this is where the appeals process starts, because Nirav Modi will then apply to the UK High Court, appealing against both the decision of the Magistrate's Court and the decision of the Secretary of State, which then gets heard. Again, you're looking at a few months because he'll get to rehash all his arguments. Now, one potential complication in all of this we should remember here is that Nirav Modi has also allegedly filed an asylum application in the UK. Now, he's basically saying he shouldn't be sent to India because he's going to be persecuted, his human rights are in danger, and so he should be allowed to reside in the UK. Now, India is generally considered a safe country by the UK in terms of asylum applications, but depending on the facts and circumstances, they may still say he should be granted asylum, which is obviously what he's going to be counting on. Now, if the High Court also rules against him, you're looking at at least a year in the Magistrate's Court, another few months for the High Court decision, another year possibly for the asylum application, and at the end of all of which, he can still also make an appeal to the UK Supreme Court, which can then see if there's any reason not to extradite him to India. So all in all, we're looking at least a couple of years here before anything further happens in Nirav Modi's case. At the same time, it is a good step for India. We've generally seem to have got things right, unlike with the Vijay Mallya case. Things have been done on a timely basis, and he should not have many grounds to try and reject extradition. At this stage, though, we do need to be careful that we don't get ahead of ourselves. It's a good win, but let's see what happens with his asylum application, with the rest of the extradition proceedings, and then see whether or not we're going to get him back.